G'day ladies and gents, Cubic Meter here. Snapshot 22W13H has dropped and we've been given access to the Allay. As a storage tech enthusiast, of course I voted for the Allay in the mob vote. And ever since we were introduced to this new unique mob, I've been thinking of ways of how it could possibly be used for item sorting. It's pretty obvious there's still a few kinks to work out. Like for example, they're apparently invulnerable when they're holding items. However, I've just realized, if the allies are invulnerable while holding items, that means that they won't take damage from things like TNT, meaning you can safely operate things like tunnel balls and quarries and have them pick up the items automatically without them taking any damage. Now that is pretty damn clever. So thanks Mojang for being the gigabrains that you are. But what I want to know is some of the more technical details of how they work. To start with, I'm going to deal with these mobs by putting them into a minecart to immobilize them. However, this does present the issue of their hitbox actually being smaller than the minecart, meaning that if you try to give them an item, all you end up doing is selecting the minecart. The only way I've found that you can actually give it an item in this current state is if you get down low and nudge until you can just see it through the minecart, and there we go, I've just given it an item. And with my special timing blocks, it seems that we're getting a throughput of about 5 seconds per item. And I should probably be more specific saying that this is 5 seconds per item stack, because of course, the Allay can sort unstackables, which have a stack size of 1. If we instead do 64 stackables, our speed seems to reduce to about 8 seconds per item stack. And this seems to be due to the Allay spitting the items out again one at a time. However, it seems to do this every game tick. So this is interesting. I just reduced the stack to only 16 items, and our throughput has become a little bit erratic, switching between two different values. So it seems like our Allay has a cooldown of 5 seconds between picking up an item entity, however no cooldown for spitting that item out again, and it will delay picking up another item entity while it's in the process of chucking out previous items. So this would explain why my first attempt using an 8 game tick item aligner doesn't work very well, because the throughput of items is simply way too fast for the Allays to keep up. So instead, I tried to slow things down a little using this concept with the Allays in boats. And so here are our unstackables. They drop to the middle and then stay there until the Allays pick them up. However, here I've encountered another issue. We of course have the mechanic that allows us to automate the Allays outputting their items onto a specific note block. Any note block that sounds within a certain radius of the Allay seems to link with that Allay for 30 seconds, meaning the Allay will now deliver items to that note block whenever it has them available. So all I've done is sounded that note block once, and so maybe the Allay has been linked to it. Yeah, look at that, it's delivering the items to the note block even though it's not sounding continuously. You don't actually need to sound the note block continuously to get the Allay to deliver the items. All you need to do is sound the note block every 30 seconds to keep the Allay linked to it. And the problem with this particular setup is that the Allays, all of them, will link to the first note block that sounds even in the subtick stages. So ideally I'd have these Allays in this boat delivering to this note block, and these delivering to this note block. However, if this note block sounds first, all of these Allays will try and shoot their items towards this note block and completely ignore the ones directly next to them. That means that when I try to use this setup, all of the Allays try to throw their items towards a single position, causing them to glitch everywhere. So here we have my best attempt at an Allay based unstackable sorter in the current snapshot. We have a single central note block that all of these are Allays linked to. However, directly underneath each one of them is a hopper which immediately sucks out the item the moment the Allay tries to throw it. So even though they all try to throw their items towards this central position, the items will be scooped up by the hoppers before they get the chance to move. And unfortunately, at this stage, with all the allays in a certain area linking to the same note block that powers first instead of the closest note block, if I try adding additional slices on the end of this, the allays won't actually throw their items because they don't believe they're in range of the note block. And because they're in minecarts, they can't actually move. However, if the allays are not in minecarts, then we can't ensure that every allay is above a single hopper sorting a particular item type. So unfortunately, keeping them stationary is the only way to make them sort items effectively at this stage. So I've just got a sample chest full of items that can be sorted. I put them into the water stream. This is a very slow water stream using the honey blocks. You can see all the items reliably get picked up. If we take a look in all of these chests, we have now gained additional items. And here's a quick test to see if it either goes by the name of the item or the ID that you can see at the bottom there, Minecraft Diamond Helmet. I'm just going to rename this helmet like so and see if it gets sorted into the correct slice. Yeah, so it seems to go off the item ID. It must completely ignore the MBT data as well. That means that items with enchantments, for example, would all go to the same slice. Which also means we now have fully vanilla shulker box color sorting, which is invariant to the custom names of a shulker box. So that's pretty cool. We can now sort every single item in Minecraft. However, this is obviously not the Allay's final form, and there still are a few kinks to work out, like how painful it is to currently assign and unassign an Allay that's in a minecart. Though it still stands to be seen if the Allay will prove to be an effective way of sorting items in the future, especially given there are much better ways of sorting items such as stackables, along with the performance trade-off of having a mob sitting in your storage constantly, searching for items around it. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time.